Straight ahead on 12 News, making Birdtown beautiful, the part of Robbinsdale that will get a little extra TLC. Then, an infusion of food.
We were sitting here in a cold Minnesota winter, and it warmed us up, really.
How some local food shelves will get a much-needed lift. But first, another one bites the dust. A third Rainbow Foods closes in the Northwest Metro. What it means for the local grocery store market. 12 News starts right now. Rainbow Foods is closing its Brooklyn Park store. Hello, I'm Alexandra Renslow.
And I'm Mike Johnson. The Brooklyn Park Rainbow will close in mid-February. And as Delane Cleveland reports, it is the 5th Rainbow to close in the Twin Cities in the past year.
I like the people that are in there. They're very friendly.
The Brooklyn Park Rainbow has amassed a loyal customer base over the years.
Everything. I like it all. I like their prices.
I shop here a lot. Every week, at least once.
But when it comes to grocery stores in this area, Rainbow is far from the only option. Across the street is a Cub Foods, next to that is Target, and 2 blocks away is Walmart.
I do both. I do this one and their competition.
Competition is good.
According to Rainbow's parent company, Roundy's, competition wasn't exactly good for this location. Roundy's spokesman Jim Highland said in a statement that an increased competitive footprint from the likes of Walmart and others has made it hard to control costs and remain competitive in the geographies where we have closed stores. As a result, this Rainbow will close on February 16th.
I'm not happy with that.
Speaking for my mom, I know she's very unhappy about it because it is her store of choice.
However, industry experts say they're not surprised by Roundy's decision to close the Brooklyn Park Rainbow.
They weren't making money there. I don't think there's much doubt about it.
The same can be said of Robbinsdale's Rainbow, which closed this past spring.
If it's not profitable for them and they stand out, my expectation is they'll close any store in that ballpark.
Rainbow was once Minnesota's largest grocery store for sales volume, but it has since dropped to 4th behind Cub, Target, and Walmart.
Rainbow's parent company, Roundy's, Rainbow is a stepchild for them. Instead of putting more money into Rainbow, they've decided to go into Chicago.
Which means that Brooklyn Park's Rainbow shoppers will have to devote their loyalties elsewhere.
I'm just not sure. I like this one and I like Rainbow and don't know.
Well, Brooklyn Park isn't the only city that's affected. Roundy's announced it's closing a store in Columbia Heights as well this week. And Mike and Alex, that means there will be 27 Rainbow stores left in the Twin Cities. And experts say that Roundy's could close even more underperforming stores in the coming years as their leases expire. So we'll have to see what happens.
Tough to see those local grocery stores close.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Delane.
Thanks, Delane. The city of Robbinsdale has plans to upgrade its downtown plaza area. City leaders say they want to turn the area into a destination spot. And 12 News reporter Sonia Goen shows us what's on the to-do list.
I really love Robbinsdale. I think it's great, and it's got, all the stuff that you really need. Drugstores, pizza place, meat markets.
What's not to love? With the sun beaming off the buildings, Robbinsdale looks like a picture postcard.
Robbinsdale is like a little town that a big city grew around, but it still has a very much of a small town flavor to it, which is what I really like about it.
Robbinsdale officials want the rest of the world to feel the same way that David Hughes does.
Well, we're going to try and find some things that will cause people to want to come here and stay here.
To attract more people, they're renovating this plaza.
Really, we want to make this an area that people would just love to come out and hang out at.
Now, the city recently hired a firm to work on the project, so they don't have an official design yet. But they do know what items they want to make improvements on. The mural is on the to-do list. You can see paint peeling in some spots.
So we're going to do some work here. The art gallery also has a lot of ideas about some additional art here.
The benches in the plaza will also get some much-needed TLC.
The benches, you can see, also are showing some wear. All up and down West Broadway, we're going to take the benches and rehabilitate them and replace boards that need to be replaced, do a good paint job.
And time has not been good for the plaza clock. It will also get some work done.
One of the sides doesn't function. The technology's improved so much since they first put that up. So we're going to improve the technology, have less maintenance requirements.
Well, I was born in '49, so I've lived here all my life.
Longtime Robbinsdale resident Judy Ernestson is on board with the project.
It'll make Robbinsdale look nicer. Bring people in, bring it that hometown feeling again.
In Robbinsdale, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
The price tag is expected to be around $10,000 to $15,000, but city leaders want to hear from residents before they move forward. A survey will be posted on the city's website soon.
A great opportunity to grow. That's the consensus from a task force helping to guide development in the northwest part of Brooklyn Park. The task force spent 6 months touring different parts of the Twin Cities and brainstorming development ideas. The goal was to come up with a vision for 2.4 square miles of undeveloped land north of 610. In the end, they came up with a report titled Building to 2030. The report put special emphasis on quality design, especially along the 610 corridor. There was also emphasis on growing jobs and creating more diverse housing options.
A big project to build a new public works facility is moving forward in Crystal. City officials there say the old Public Works Center on 41st Avenue is outdated and no longer meets current state and federal standards. What's more, it's located in a floodplain, so improving it would be expensive. City Council Tuesday approved buying 5 pieces of property along West Broadway near Fairview Avenue for a new facility. Council members point out that finding 5 acres of suitable property is difficult in a city that's completely built up. Mayor Jim Adams says they hope they don't have to use eminent domain to acquire any of that property. Once temperatures rise above zero, work will resume on a massive project spanning the Mississippi River between Brooklyn Park and Fridley. The Metropolitan Council is overseeing a $6 million sewer pipe replacement project. The old pipes had sprung a leak. Sanitary sewage collected across the Northwest Metro is sent through these pipes. The project is done during the winter because the river flow is lowest and boaters are not a concern. It's expected to be done by June.
It is a new year and a new era for the Golden Valley City Council.
To the best of my judgment and ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
New council members Andy Snope and Larry Faunus took the oath of office Tuesday night under the direction of Judge Myron Greenberg, a Golden Valley resident. It's a pivotal time for Golden Valley as the council weighs in on the future of the Bottineau light rail line and future development in the city. The 2 new council members beat out 7 other opponents for seats, and both men said the campaign helped ready them to represent Golden Valley.
There was lively debate. And it's really good for Golden Valley to have that debate. All those issues that came up and that we discussed are all still very fresh in my mind.
I see a bright and promising future for this city, and we have much to be proud of, and I think there is yet much that we can do to make it even that much better.
Faunus and Snope will serve 4-year terms. They replaced council members Dee Dee Scanlon and Paula Pentel, who chose not to run for re-election. Coming up, a big boost for local food shelves, what it is and how it comes at a perfect time.
Then later in sports, we catch up on many athletic topics with the Minnesota State High School League.
But first, goodbye polar vortex. Thursday, we finally warm up. We may even see the 30s by Friday.
Food shelves across the country are getting news of a big donation.
Earlier this week, the U.S. Department of Agriculture announced they are buying $126 million worth of fruits and vegetables to be distributed to the hungry. A food shelf in Brooklyn Center is one that will benefit from this money. Here's Cassie Bonstrom.
Peas, potatoes, corn.
If you want to make employees at a food shelf happy, just tell them more food is coming their way.
Hot dog. I mean, we were sitting here in a cold Minnesota winter, and it warmed us up.
Byron Lair is president of SEEP, a food shelf in Brooklyn Center. He's warmed up with news that the federal government is purchasing $126.4 million worth of fruits and veggies to distribute across the country. Food that will end up at food shelves like SEEP.
To have this kind of healthier product is just great.
It also couldn't come at a better time. Last year, SEEP served 7,000 families and gave away more than 1.6 million pounds of food. This federal money will go toward buying things like blueberries, cranberries, and fresh tomatoes, to name a few. Foods that are in high demand for struggling families.
If you look at fruits and vegetables, they tend to cost more than boxed food, and you just can't afford it. So we're able, because of this and because of donations that we get of fresh food as well, is to put better quality food in the hands of our families.
In Brooklyn Center, I'm Cassie Bonstrom, 12 News.
It's not clear yet when this extra food will be distributed, but SEEP President Byron Lair knows that when it reaches the shelves, it won't stay there very long. He expects the fresh foods to be gone in days, if not hours. Coming up, how social media can help with a common New Year's resolution.
But first in sports, how the winter high school tournaments will be a little different this year. John Jacobson explains when we come back. John Jacobson with sports now. So back to school, and for student athletes, back to practice. And I guess coaches would think that's a good thing. And maybe the students don't want to get back to practice.
But back in a routine for the first time in a few weeks with the couple of holiday weeks we had in a row. No school for the first part of the week meant no games for many athletic teams. Earlier today, I asked John Millea of the Minnesota State High School League about a number of topics, including if the cancellations are a concern for schools.
I think it's a concern. I don't know how big of a concern. You can reschedule. You might have to go to some different days than you traditionally would for whatever sport it is. Finding officials may be a little tougher, but and some of the JV and sub-varsity levels, some of those games may not be made up. But I think we'll get through this. Just a couple of days of everything wiped off the map and find new dates for these varsity games. I would assume, especially conference games, I would assume all those will be made up.
Let me ask you about the Metrodome. For me, it's hard to get too nostalgic about the building, although I was thinking last week how much time professionally that I spent and our crew spent there covering high school football and soccer. It's going to be different.
It really is, and I was kind of surprised the last day of the prep bowl. We all kind of joked about it because it's been kind of a dump for a long time. But, when I got there for the last day, and then it kind of hit me, this is the last day. I wasn't going to go to any of these late Vikings games. This is the last day I'm going to be in this building, and it was kind of nostalgic. I found myself kind of wandering around looking at things that I know I'm never going to see this again. I'm never going to see that again. I'll walk down past the locker room areas, and it was a great building for us, in this climate to have that kind of a facility. It was fantastic. And now we're going to be outdoors for a couple of years. We'll see how that goes. That'll be interesting too.
The calendar for this year a little bit different. Tournaments moved up a week, and basketball, the boys and girls, switched this week, flip-flopped, or this year.
Yeah, because of a new college hockey conference. They're going to have their tournament at Target Center. So that takes away 1 week at Target Center that we would have for basketball tournaments. So the boys draw more. So the week that's missing would be the second week of the 2-week basketball tournaments. So the boys they've started a week earlier this year. Their tournament will be before the girls at Target Center and Williams Arena, but largely at Target Center, championship games. And then the girls will be largely at Williams Arena and Mariucci Arena, the hockey arena, which we've used for basketball before. I think the first day, there may be some games at Target Center, but the bulk of the games will be at Mariucci and Williams Arena, championship games at Williams Arena. And that may be the way we go here for a few years because of the contracts with the Target Center and this new hockey tournament.
Winter sports season, but you always have to be thinking ahead from a league point of view to next fall. If football scheduling is one thing that has come up, where are we at with that?
Yeah, this has been an ongoing issue for a few years. So schools having trouble filling their football schedules. And we know about the late conference schools, those 5, but it affects schools throughout the state, tiny schools, medium-sized schools, and the big schools that just have a hard time filling their regular season schedule. And the board of directors at the league has heard about this, talked about this for years, and they have a meeting. The next meeting's in a couple weeks, and they will. I am guessing they'll make a decision, either maybe to do nothing, but I think it's trending towards they're going to go to adopt this what's called a district scheduling plan. It wouldn't take effect next football season; it'd be a couple years away. But the basic concept is football teams would be grouped into districts of 14, 16, 18, maybe 20 teams. They could be from different classes, and each district will develop its own schedule, and natural rivals can still play each other. And just as a way to make sure everybody gets enough games. It won't affect section play, postseason at all.
And that decision on scheduling could come later this month. Despite the very cold temperatures and school closings, a few local teams did play Tuesday night. That included a couple of big girls hockey games. Number 3 Hopkins knocked off top-ranked Minnetonka 2-0 in the Key Lake Conference game. Royals goalie Aaron O'Neill stopped all 31 shots from the Skippers. Hopkins is 18-1 and could be poised to take over the number 1 ranking. Benilde's girls scored the only 2 goals of the third period to pull away for a 5-3 win over Blake. It's the Red Knights' 10th straight win. Caitlin Riley had 2 goals and an assist, while Kelly Panic had 3 assists for Benilde. Benilde's boys hockey team also won, rallying to beat St. Thomas Academy in overtime. We're about 6 weeks away from the state meet in gymnastics. At least one local school hopes to be in the hunt for a top finish. The Wayzata girls were ranked third in Class AA this week with an average of 143.475. Northfield is the runaway choice for number one with an average score of over 150 this year. Roseville is number two. Wayzata hosts Edina Thursday night at Central Middle School before competing in the Lakeville North Invitational this coming Saturday. And that's a look at sports for today.
Thanks, John. Still ahead, one New Year's resolution many people don't like to talk about, and it's not losing weight.
We'll be right back. Year after year, it's one of the top New Year's resolutions.
And we aren't talking about losing weight, but rather saving money. Reporter Shannon Slatton explains one plan for getting your finances on track for 2014.
Studies show fewer than 10% of people manage to stick to their New Year's resolution. If, like many people, you want to save money in the new year, it's best to start with a simple plan to get financially fit.
Having a well thought out, simple plan, I think, helps you stick to it. In January, we like to start small. Get a few small victories under your belt. I think that can give you the momentum to stick with it.
Financial advisor Skip Johnson with Great Waters Financial in New Hope has a simple 12-month plan to improve your finances in the new year. In January, start small. He suggests finding simple things you can do to save money, like eating in or skipping the coffee shop.
Do a few of those things, put away a little cash, and you can find out at the end of the month that can really help you save a lot of money to put toward your financial plan.
In February, create a budget and a way to track your expenses, either by hand, using an Excel spreadsheet, or through a website. In March, put your debt on a diet. Figure out a plan for getting out of debt. And then in April, work on your savings plan with a final goal of saving 10% of your earnings.
My most financially successful clients, the common denominator is that they paid off their debts early and they saved at least 10% of their income. So I think our goal should be get to where we're saving at least 10% of our income. You're on a good path to financial freedom.
Those are only goals for the first 4 months of the year, but you can find a goal for every month at greatwatersfinancial.com. For Money Saver, Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
An emerging tactic for keeping those New Year's resolutions is sharing them with your friends and family, whether through social media or a phone call. Your support network can keep you accountable all year long. So you get your uncle saying, so how's it going for you? How's it going, huh?
Right.
That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll see you back here again tomorrow. Community Corners coming up next.